Welcome back, student. Today we are going to read chapter 13, simple, complex and compound sentences. So what is the speciality of simple sentence? A simple sentence has one clause. Understood? Complex sentence has one main clause and one subordinate clause. Okay? While a complex sentence has one main clause and one subordinate, means one dependent and another is independent. In compound sentences you will get two or more main clause. So let's begin this chapter. Let's break the ice. Choose the words horizontally as well as vertically to form appropriate sentence. Understood? So just try to make sentence either horizontally or vertically. So you can make different kind of sentences. For example, I obliged her. Okay, I do not think there is any danger. For example, I reached home at 5 o'clock. They will met. They will. Um, okay, they will go. Or you can make I will meet her. I will meet. I will not meet. मीट नहीं दिया हुआ है. ओके, सो दिस इज आई विल बी ऑन टाइम. ओके, मेक श्योर कि जो आप सेंटेंसेस फॉर्म कर रहे हैं दैट मस्ट बी अकॉर्डिंग टू द सब्जेक्ट वर्ब अग्रीमेंट. आई मेट हर एट द स्टेशन. आई मेट हर एट द स्टेशन. One sentence, another is she performed well. She performed well is a simple clause. So by this way you can find out simple, complex and compound sentences. On the basis of function, there are four types of sentences: declarative or assertive sentences. In declarative, you will get assertive and negative sentence. Then the second part is interrogative sentence. Then imperative, exclamatory. And if you are talking about structure, on the basis of structure, there is simple sentence. The simple sentence has only one clause. Compound sentence may have one or more than two clauses, right? Then complex sentence is having one independent clause and the second is dependent clause. Complex compound sentence, you will get here more than two clauses. Clear? So examples: mother is a gift from God for a child. So this is which kind of sentence? Declarative sentence, and it's stating a fact. Mummy, when will you finish your work? You are getting question mark, so this is interrogative sentence. Meena, please wait for a while. You are giving a polite command or polite request. This is imperative sentence. Wow, it looks yummy. This is exclamatory sentence. So kinds of sentences according to structure. A sentence may consist of one clause, independent clause, or more clauses, independent and dependent clause. An independent clause is also called main clause. A dependent clause is also called subordinate clause. ठीक है, तो जो dependent clause होता है, dependent clause is also called subordinate. That's very important point. And an independent clause is called main clause. ठीक है. Now, on the basis of numbers of clause and types, clauses present in a sentence, sentences are divided into four kinds. What are they? Firstly, simple sentence. Simple sentence consists of only one dependent clause containing a subject and a verb. It's not complicated. Understood? Very simple. And there is no डिपेंडेंट क्लॉज. एक इंडिपेंडेंट क्लॉज होता है, उसमें सब्जेक्ट और वर्ब होता है. फॉर एग्जाम्पल, he laughed. You are getting complete meaning. It's a simple sentence. She ate an apple. Simple sentence. Now look at this structure: compound sentence. A compound sentence consists of at least two independent clauses joined by coordinate conjunction. There is no dependent clause in compound sentence, and basically they are joined by using fanboys, as I have already told you many a time in my previous class. So here you will not get any dependent clause. नहीं मिलेगा आपको कंपाउंड सेंटेंस में. यू विल गेट ओनली independent clause and they are joined by using fanboys. Understood? Independent clauses can also be joined by semicolon, a comma, or may not be used before the conjunction in a compound sentence. Like, for example, I like an apple. This is a complete sentence. My mother likes a mango. Okay, so these two sentences both are independent and they have joined. Now let's talk about complex compound sentence. A complex compound sentence. Okay, let's talk about complex sentence. Complex sentence consists of one independent clause and at least one dependent clause joined by subordinate conjunction like because, although, since, when, unless, or relative pronoun that, who, which, etc. I met the boy who had helped me. So I met the boy, this is independent. Who had helped me, this is relative pronoun. She is wearing a shirt, it is independent, which looks nice, that is dependent. In complex sentence begins with an independent clause. A comma is not used between clauses in a complex sentence. Understood? So if you are making complex sentences, we do not use comma. If a complex sentence begins with dependent clause, for example, if a complex sentence begins with dependent clause, then you can use comma. For example, although he is ill, so you are starting with dependent clause. जो ये आपका independent clause है, इसको add करने के लिए आप comma लगा सकते हैं. ठीक है. But if you are starting with independent clause, for example, he is playing well although he is ill, we do not use comma there. Let's talk about complex compound sentence. A complex compound sentence consists of at least two dependent and one or more dependent clauses. Understood? मतलब ये दोनों का mixture होता है. For example, I went to college, independent, and I went to a market, independent. यहाँ पे एक dependent आ गया, where I bought a book. So you are joining more than two independent clauses with one dependent clause. This is an example of complex compound sentence. Hope I'm clear to all of you. Now let's all try out one. The first question is, Rajneesh runs very fast. So look at this example. This is what? Simple sentence. I'm just writing only S so that you could understand. S for simple, S for sentence. So here Rajneesh runs very fast. यहाँ पर one subject है and one verb है. ठीक है, कोई भी दूसरा क्लॉज नहीं है, दो डिपेंडेंट क्लॉजेस, दो इंडिपेंडेंट क्लॉजेस को जोड़ा नहीं गया है, इसलिए ये सिंपल सेंटेंस है. नाउ परमजीत क्लोज्ड द डोर सो दैट द किड कुड नॉट गो inside. So that लग गया यहाँ पे. So that is an example of complex sentence. This is complex. Let me write here complex because so that is being used here. Now the next is, the police inspector snubbed the thief when it came to his notice that the thief was a history teacher. The police inspector snubbed the thief. अब when आ गया, यानी कि relative pronoun आ रहा है. So this is an example, again complex sentence. Now प्रेरणा cannot stand and walk. अब stand and walk जुड़ रहा है by using and. So this is an example of compound. Okay, now look at this. My father ate his breakfast. Simple sentence, कोई independent or dependent clause नहीं है. So this is an example of simple sentence. Now look at this. Though Puneet missed the train, he hired the taxi and reached the office in time. Though. So this is an example of complex. और ये complex क्या है? ये complex compound है. ठीक है, and reach the office on time क्योंकि यहाँ पे and भी लग रहा है. ठीक है. Now the next, my friend was very happy when he first came to my house. So here one is independent clause and the second one is dependent clause. This is an example of complex. Now this is the university where I completed my post graduation, where is working as a relative pronoun. So this is an example of complex sentence. Now look at this. Try out 2. Combine and rewrite the following sentence as compound or complex sentences. Okay, so now look at this. The process of loosening the soil is called plowing and tilling. Okay, so just remove these extra part and add and. The process of loosening the soil is called plowing and tilling. Kharif crops are sown in the rainy season while you are adding another sentence. This is an example of subordinate conjunction. While you are adding here, this is an example of complex sentence. Some microorganisms are useful, but some microorganisms are harmful. So this is an example of, you are using a but here. So this is compound sentence. Now, though plastic take thousands of years to decompose, humans use plastics extensively. बिकॉज यू आर स्टार्टिंग विद दो, तो आपको मैंने पहले ही बताया था कि जब आप कभी भी सबॉर्डिनेट या डिपेंडेंट क्लॉज से सेंटेंस स्टार्ट करते हैं तो इनडिपेंडेंट को उसमें ऐड करने के लिए हम कॉमा लगाते हैं. अंडरस्टूड? व्हेन आयरन रिएक्ट्स विद ऑक्सीजन, either when iron reacts with oxygen it forms iron oxide and called rust. तो यहाँ पे सिर्फ कॉमा लगेगा. नेक्स्ट, सम मिटा दीजिए. ऑर्गेनिज्म आर यूनिसेलुलर, ईदर यहाँ पे लगाएंगे क्योंकि हमें दो वाक्यों को जोड़ना है. ठीक है. सम ऑर्गेनिज्म इज रिपीटेड, सो यू कैन राइट सम ऑर्गेनिज्म आर ईदर यूनिसेलुलर, और इसके बाद क्या करेंगे, यूनिसेलुलर ऑर्गेनिज्म और मेटिसेलुलर. सम ऑर्गेनिज्म आर ईदर यूनिसेलुलर और मल्टीसेलुलर. अंडरस्टूड? ये सम और ऑर्गेनिज्म दोनों हटा देंगे. नेक्स्ट, एज अ ल्यूब्रिकेंट रिड्यूसेस फ्रिक्शन, तो आप यहाँ पे एज वाले से स्टार्ट कर रहे हो, मतलब कि आप इसको कॉम्प्लेक्स बना रहे हो और डिपेंडेंट क्लॉज से शुरू कर रहे हो, तो यहाँ पे हम कॉमा लगा देंगे. अंडरस्टूड? नाउ लेट्स टॉक अबाउट ट्राई आउट 3. लुक एट द क्लॉजेज विद इन द सेंटेंस एंड राइट डाउन whether the sentence is simple, compound, complex or compound complex. Elaborate the reason behind the answer. Now, a girl with brown eyes entered the room. Simple sentence है, एक ही verb है. A girl with brown eyes. So this is simple sentence. Now look at this. Anita and Rubina and से जुड़ रहा है. Entered the room just as भी आ रहा है, तो ये compound complex का example है. Next, school starts on April 1st and I will be entering the 8th grade. तो सीधा सीधा and से जुड़ रहा है, तो ये compound हो गया. ठीक है. Now when I purchased my new gym clothes, simple when से लग गया, तो when आपका complex हो जाएगा. ठीक है. Now the next, since there are so many students in my grade, English will be held for Group A on Monday, Wednesday and Friday and the next week. So this is an example of compound complex. ठीक है? Complex. Next, Shanky wrote his letter and sent it to his cousin. So and लग रहा है यहाँ पे. So this is an example of compound. Now look at this. Jaya who. This is complex. Okay. Now Jan ran to the store and this is compound. Thank you so much for watching. For any query you can leave a comment in the comment box.